Good evening, and thank you for joining me tonight for another kind of video, something I've never done before, doing my makeup in front of the camera. This was highly requested in the comments of my latest Q&A, and I thought it would be a nice challenge because, as many others said before me, showing your face with no makeup at all can be indeed intimidating. But here I am with nothing on my face except my contact lenses that I have to wear if I want to see what I'm doing, especially for the eyes area. So what I'm going to show you tonight is my quite simple makeup, and by simple I do not mean that I will only use 1 or 2 cosmetics or that it will take less than 5 minutes, but that the result looks pretty simple and quite natural. Heavy makeup doesn't look good on me anyway. And of course I am no expert, and basically I started to really use makeup when I started recording videos. So I watched tons of tutorials, and what you're going to see tonight is what I usually do almost every time I put on makeup. Let's start. So I'm going to start with a moisturizer because my skin is quite dry, especially when it's cold, and it is cold today. This one is by Léa Nature, which is a French brand, and sometimes I use my Daily Cream by Veleda, and this is a very good brand, and it smells so good. Of course, any moisturizer would do. And I'm going to apply it on my face. Here we go. I also tried a primer once, but honestly I saw no difference at all, so no need for extra layers. And all the brands you're going to see in this video are French organic brands, because I'm a French living in France, so you may not find them where you live. But these are not necessarily the best ones, they are just working for me. And I always make sure that these brands do not test on animals or were not bought by bigger companies that do these tests, because I do not want to give them my money. And that looks good. So next, foundation. So there is one brand that you will see a lot in this video. This is Couleur Caramel, and I really like this one. So here I have my sponge already damp. That looks like an egg. And I'm going to put some foundation on the back of my hand to make sure I won't apply too much of it on my face. and I'm going to apply it and then pat it all over my face, just like this. And I like to take my time for this step, and I find it quite relaxing. One thing I like with this brand is that all their cosmetics are skincare products at the same time. For example, this foundation is hydrating. That's a good point for me. On the eyelids, under the eye, using that point tip. The other one, and under the eye. And as you can see, it is quite thin. And if I want more coverage, I just come back with more foundation on the cheeks. And patting it always. And I think it's good like this, just down into the neck, and looks good. So now I'm going to use some concealer that I'm going to apply with my fingers. So, under the eyes, patting it again, and on the eyelids as well, because that will make a kind of base for the eyeshadows, since I don't use any kind of primer. You can see the difference. And the other one. On the eyelid. And I'm going to use it for some imperfections as well. As you can see, I have a lot of freckles and beauty spots, and I never figured out why we call it beauty spot. It's quite similar in French. We call it grain de beauté. And of course, I'm not going to try to conceal all of them, but I have lighter ones just here and there at the tip of my nose, and I do not like this one. Some small scars as well. Okay, and now I'm going to use some loose powder, still by Couleur Caramel. And what I like to do is putting a bit of powder in the lid. And I'm going to use my big fluffy brush. And remove any excess. I'm going to apply it doing circles. This brush is very soft, so nice to use. Just a bit more and now I'm going to apply some blush. And I really like this packaging. There are two magnets here to close the lid, so you can be sure it will never open. And this is a very bright, colorful shade. It's really a beautiful one. I'm going to use the same fluffy brush. So on the cheekbone and up to the hairline. The other one. that looks good. A bit on the nose. Alright. And I could stop here, but now I'm going to do something that usually nobody does. But as you may have noticed in some of my videos, depending on the light, my neck can look very white, and the reason is that my face tans easily but my neck does not. Especially in winter, of course, I spend a lot of time outdoors with a scarf, so I'm kind of two-tone. And some people told me in the comments, oh, you shouldn't use a darker foundation, it doesn't suit you. But as you can see, I do not use a darker foundation. This is just how my skin is. So I'm going to apply a darker powder here. I believe this is usually used for contouring, even if I don't really do that. Sometimes I would just apply a bit of it under my cheekbones. We could call this contouring, I believe. Here we go. And it may not be obvious here because my light is much brighter than usual. But my neck is very white. So I'm going to apply a bit of it under my cheekbones. I don't always do that. I believe it depends on the character. And I also bought an highlighter. But I don't see a lot of difference. I don't know if it's just me or so. I'm going to try it again. Here. And on the brow bone. Can you see a difference? I don't see it. The only difference I see is when I apply it in the cupid's bow here. But it looks like I'm sweating or something. So I don't know if I will buy it again. Let me know if you use some highlighter and where you apply it. Alright, now I'm done with the skin and I'm going to take care of the eyes. And that is the tricky part for me because I have what we call hooded eyes, hooded eyelids, meaning we don't really see my eyelids and it's not always easy to apply makeup. You can be born with hooded eyes or it can occur with time when you're edging. So I have 3 eyeshadows, still the same brand. One dark, one light, and a third one, kind of reddish, that I use as a medium tone, and this one is my favorite. I originally bought it for the very first apothecary roleplay because I wanted some kind of sore, creepy eyes, but in the end it was just pretty. And I have a few brushes. Two by Couleur Caramel, and these are from EcoTools, and they are really handy with one type of brush at each end. I often use these. I'm going to apply this one first using this brush. I know some people start with the darker shade or the lighter one, but I like to start with some kind of transition shade. So I'm going to use a mirror as well, because even with my contact lenses I don't have a very good eyesight. So I'm going to apply it not into the crease, or else we won't see it, but just above and upwards. A bit in the outer corner as well. So I have some kind of V shape. And this way it's going to slightly open the eyes and make them look a bit larger. Just a bit more, and that's good. Now I'm going to do the same with the darker tone to add some depth. Using this brush here. and I'm going to blend the two colors outwards. With this one. Same on the other eyelid. I'm going to apply a bit of the darker tone on the eyelid as well, but just on the outer corner. And now I'm going to apply the lighter shade on the eyelid itself with this brush. A quite fluffy one. And this shade is very close to my skin color. And I'm going to blend it with the two others. And that's it. I'm just going to use a little bit of the first shade and apply it under the lash line, the lower lash line. This is quite natural, but if I want to add even more depth, I could use this brush as well and add a bit of the darker tone on the outer corner here. Now I'm going to use an eye pencil. I don't usually use eyeliners. I tried one and I was not very happy with it. Yes, I used this one for the latest roleplay, The Ancient Ways, and it tends to close my eyes. I don't know if it makes sense. So that's not for me. I'm going to use a plain eye pencil that kind of matches my reddish eyeshadow. So I'm going to apply it into the lash line here and a bit under as well. And a little bit on the eyelid as well, but I'm not going to draw a full line. I'm going to keep it on the last third of the eyelid, doing this kind of little wing. I'm not very good at it. Alright. And just a little bit on the lower lash line. And same on the other eye, into the lash line. And under it. And that's it. I do use mascara sometimes, but the one I have is not very good. And I picked up the wrong color when I bought it, so it's brown instead of black. First of all, I'm going to use an eyelash curler. Here we go. I remember the first time I saw this tool, I really wondered what it was. But I find it quite effective, and sometimes this is just enough. No need for mascara. And then my almost invisible mascara. And that's it. Basically, this is what I do every time for the eyes. Sometimes I just use two eyeshadows, the darker one and the lighter one. Brows. I don't do anything with my brows, simply because I just don't know what could be done, so I just leave them as they are. And now about lipsticks. I don't always apply lipstick because many of them do not suit me. So I have two shades. One I had for ages. It's very close to my lips color, so it's not really obvious when I wear it. This is from YvesRocher. It is a very famous brand here in France, but I don't buy these products anymore. And there is this one that I really like. I bought it for the Regency roleplay I made a few months ago, and I was so happy to find a shade that suits me at last. It's a kind of raspberry color. I really like it. And if I don't use lipstick, I usually apply a bit of lip balm. I make this one myself. It's basically half beeswax and half olive oil. Very easy to make and very nourishing. It makes the lips a bit glossy as well. It's so simple to make, and one small pot like this will last 1 year. And of course, I can still apply some lipstick if I want. So I'm going to use this one. As you can see, it is quite discreet. And that's done. This shall look like what you usually see in my videos. Let me know if you enjoyed this one, and as always, I wish you a very good night.